Hello. Here's a random thought. What made me think of it? I was listening to the news, and there's fires in California currently. Here we are mid-January, January 14th of 2025. And these fires out in California, and they mentioned, I believe they're calling it the Palisades Fire, or the something like this, right? Fire burnt the library, which, as they say that in the news report, I instantly start to picture this visually in my mind, picturing the fire. It made me think of Fahrenheit 451, and it made me think about how in 2025 there has to be a lower level of books being produced than, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. I'm assuming that. I don't know the stat on that. How many books are produced per year? Maybe it's more just because of pure numbers of people and population, and maybe it's easier to print now. But either way, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or an astrophysicist or a future fortune teller to predict that in 50 years, I can't imagine a publishing industry existing. What is going to happen to that, right? The newspapers went away. They vaguely exist in some form here around the world. I don't see them hardly ever. When I do, it's like seeing a phone booth. It's like, oh, look at that relic of the past. But, okay, so the thing I'm thinking about here is the loss of books, sure, but more specifically libraries. Now, libraries have changed over the years. I had the pleasure of being born in the 80s and seeing them really still essentially in that form of books, right? Although they had, they're like microfilm departments, and I guess VHSs and whatnot and CDs started to get loaned into the 90s. I remember that. I don't know if they existed before. I don't see them in old pictures or movies. You could tell me if I'm wrong with that. Were they doing that before? But anyway, so it started with the DVDs and the VHSs, and now they're very different. Anyways, what is crucial and essential to the library that I find so important is a space that is free. The access to the material is free. And the material now takes the form of access to their computers, connected to the internet, and that's free. Books are free. And it's a space where those things are free, and the rule is to be quiet. You're supposed to be quiet. There's, at any given library, like rooms for study. There's rooms for, educational programming. It is a free space that is pro-education and dissemination of information. It's a free space. That is the humongous, tremendous part of it. That it's free, or the few things that end up being costing money or low fee. That is unbelievably important. If they're all wiped out and they're all gone, where does anyone go if they want to not be in their home for a million different reasons? The most extreme of which is somebody's at home and there's a drug addict or a violent person, abuser there, and they need an escape. They need a way to climb out of that life and to study and better themselves and get out of that. They need somewhere. They need access. They need things. And then, on the other end of it, somebody just worked a long day, doesn't want to go to their same apartment or house. They want a place where they can concentrate, and they know they're going to be surrounded by people who are quietly doing the same thing. There's something so strong to be said about your environment in a million ways, but in this way in particular, about getting work done, academic work, intellectual work, which isn't a novel pursuit. The pursuit of which betters you as a human being. It's not the route for everybody. I get it. That's the thing. We have to say that, right? But for the majority of people who have a brain, and that doesn't mean a rocket scientist brain, making your mind sharper and stronger is a good thing. And through that process, you attain wisdom. This is another criticism of intellectualism and academic work in schools and education system that, it's all facts and it's just rote memorization. No, if you're doing it wrong, it is. And even in that, you're still going to absorb through osmosis some wisdom. But the true value the deeper value, the higher value, however you want to look at it, is that wisdom is actually attained in that process. Whether it's just from the process itself, that's the thing. Through going through something, developing your idea where you have this fragment of an idea that is unpolished and rough around the edges, and by hours and hours of working on it and looking more into it and writing about it and speaking to people about it who know about the topic, speaking to people who don't know about the topic, that whole process, your idea becomes this polished gem. And one day it dawns on you that, oh my goodness, that is how we can send satellites around the world and across the universe and have MRI machines that look into our bodies with medicine that saves our lives. Because for thousands of years, we've been studying as a people, as a species, and passing it on and analyzing and double thinking and questioning. We've been doing that over and over again. And when you're pursuing your academic tasks and endeavors, you are continuing that centuries and millennia, it's really millennia, thousands of year long journey that humanity has been partaking in, and you are part of that when you're doing this. And you realize you're part of this greater, larger thing than yourself. And you realize that through this practice of sitting calmly and reading and writing, you actually calm your soul and your behavior. And you actually become more refined and more capable of controlling your emotions and more capable of thinking through problems, aka you become enlightened in a way. It's not the only right route, it's not the only thing, and that doesn't even come close to putting it all into words as to what it is, what the value is. But to return from where we started, the environment in which you do this, we have to, as a human being society, as a civilization, we have to have a place where you are allowed to do that and you're encouraged to do that for free. The government, if we're going to do a few things in the world, not everything. This is not a nanny state. If we're going to do a few things for ourselves, it's a benefit to ourselves as humanity, we should put out and fund libraries. Libraries, man, they're so crucial. They were, for me, an escape from a life I didn't want to live, with people I didn't want to be around, negative influences. They were an escape for me at different times when I just needed to get out of the hallways of my college and concentrate and have that dedicated time. There's something about, you can look into it, we can explain it maybe in a different video about the psychology of it, about the social psychology of it, the physiological reactions. But I mean, you don't, again, need to be some sort of psychological master to figure out that when you, as a human being, a social creature, go somewhere and everyone's doing something, your body and mind go, hey, this is what we're all doing. You go to the gym, okay, and if you pulled out, I don't know, a laptop and like maybe even like a little desk. You have like a fold-out desk and you set it there in the middle of the gym and put your laptop there and took a cup of coffee, started drinking it, reading and writing. You would feel very out of place. You would feel like it is wrong. People would look at you weird because that is out of place. That's not what we're doing there. If you go to the library and start doing cartwheels or juggling, unless you're in some sort of exhibition, I don't know, you go there, start making a sandwich, you're going to feel strange because it's not what people are doing there. You go to the library and you open a book or you sit there and you start reading and writing, there is a sense of serenity and peacefulness and calmness that goes, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing here and now. You're encouraged to do it subconsciously and consciously. The libraries are priceless. We need to keep them. We need to keep those in our world. We cannot lose those spaces, and they might evolve and they might change, obviously, but we need them. Secondhand, and this is less important, this isn't the main point of this idea in this video, is yes, actually hard copy books, I really like those. Looking with your eyeballs at paper is different than looking with your eyeballs at a screen. You process it different, it feels different. You are more relegated to what you're reading in the book. You are forced to look at that rather than, what's on my other tab on this computer? Let me double check that. Even the best of us, even the best of us at concentration. I'm pretty good, but no, not the best. Even the best of us can see that tab at the top of the screen, blah, blah, blah. Paper, it feels better for your brain, doesn't it, for you to look at paper versus a screen for words? And there's something sensory about it. There's the physiological mind-body connection about it. There's the passing it off without needing electronics. There's places in the world still, and even in 50 years, where you won't be able to get service or charge something. You're going to still need these books. We can't lose those yet. I understand at a certain point, yes, they're going to be beyond archaic. But not yet. Not for another 50 years, I'm assuming. 100 at least. And even then, they'll still be cool. Like, cool. Now they're going to be novel at that point. Novel. We need libraries. We need them to survive. And I just see the change, and I see how people want to be convenient, and you get rid of arts programs, etc., etc. And libraries are going to be on the chopping block. We need to keep that 0.01% of our national budget for libraries. We need that tiny little fragment. It doesn't cost much, and people can fundraise as they do, and supplement, subsidize these things. But we need them. All right, so that's my thought for today. Goodbye, everybody.